How do Americans view childhood vaccines? 5 days ago. Perfect. Thank you. All right. Nearly 2/3 have high confidence in vaccine effectiveness, and about half trust their safety testing and schedule. Oh my gosh, really? Republican support for school vaccine requirements continues to slide. So this is the thing that I continue to constantly say. And before we go into here, and this is what I've known and I've shown through this graph right here. So this is Republicans, Democrats. This is in 2024. So this is about a year ago. 16 months ago. Do you think that vaccines are more dangerous than the diseases they are designed to prevent? So basically, they do not agree with germ theory. This question is basically saying, do viruses cause disease? And they're saying no. They're just saying no. They think that viruses don't cause disease, and because they don't believe that the disease is real, because they don't think that viruses are real. So this is my big thing. Like Republicans, it's not just before and how they talked about this, it was I'm not anti-vaccine, I'm just anti this vaccine, right? That's how they've kind of talked about it. But in reality, they're against all vaccines and germ theory now. So and that's the problem. If 30% of Republicans, even if they don't understand what those means were, they don't understand what germ theory is, they are following these grifters, these hucksters, these false people that are leading them to this place, and they are listening to these people that don't believe in that viruses are real. So it's extremely dangerous. So let's see if it's changed, right? 30% of Republicans do not agree with germ theory now. So let's see how that's changed. Here we go. Oh, let's see how they did this. 5,100 adults, okay, took this survey. Okay. National random sampling of residential addresses. Okay. I wonder, did they call? Maybe the addresses. So maybe they telephone. Here we go. Conducted either online or by a telephone with a live interviewer. Okay. Interesting. They were conducted either online or telephone with a live interviewer. So maybe they had like a Skype call or something. You know what I mean? Like how did they, that's interesting. That's actually a good point. So it's not just, it's a live interviewer. It's like someone that's like taking these in. It's not just a, press A or something. Key takeaways here. A majority of Americans, 63%, are highly confident that childhood vaccines are effective at preventing serious illness. That is really bad, guys. The majority say that vaccines protect both vaccinated children and the wider community, though larger shares of Democrats than Republicans hold these views, of course. Guys, that needs to be 95%, right? I mean, this needs to be 95% because we need 95% herd immunity. So we need 30% more. We need basically 50% more people than we have to believe this. And this is really bad. By comparison, smaller shares of U.S. adults, and Republicans in particular, are extremely or very confident that childhood vaccines have gotten enough safety testing, 53, or that the vaccine schedule is safe, 51%. My God, this is why I've pushed back, guys. Even the people that are getting vaccinated and they don't think that the vaccine schedule is safe. This is the wedge right here. That they don't think that the vaccine schedule is safe, and they think that they should have the ability to stagger them, and it's not okay. It's just not okay because it's not supported by science, and it is a way that people. It's just they. What happens is that they don't go back. They don't go back. They say that they're going to go back, and they don't go back, and people are hurt, and kids get hurt. And I will say, in Republicans in particular, I'm happy that they said that, because it is Republicans in particular, guys. This is not one of those, oh, both sides are the same, and, whatever, both are the same. Republicans and Democrats are both, bad. Republicans specifically on this issue are bad on vaccine safety. And they are the ones that are not supporting science, and they're not trusting science. So I'm happy that they're actually specifically finding this too. I mean, that makes sense, right? Overwhelming majority of both Democrats and Republicans, 92 and 78%, say the benefits of the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine outweigh the risks. Again, even Democrats, dude, this needs to be 95% at least, guys, because we need 95% herd immunity. So what is wrong with this? That's wild. But it's crazy that there's even less Republicans, 78%. That is so far beyond where we want. And still, among Republicans, this share is down from 91% in 2016. So again, this is exactly what we saw in this vaccine hesitancy. Republican support for MMR vaccine school requirements continues to slip. Oh my God, from 79% in 2019 to 52% today. Oh my gosh, dude. That is unbelievable. This is why I have to go into these Republican spaces, guys. I'm not kidding. I want to go into these Republicans spaces, and it's just insane. Dude, you either hop in the box or, you're just annoying. Democrats are far more likely than Republicans to say medical experts should have a major role in childhood vaccine policy decisions. In return, Republicans are much more likely than Democrats to say parents of young children should have a major role. Republicans are much more likely than Democrats to say parents. So Republicans think that parents should have more of a role than doctors on whether or not their child should be vaccinated. That's bad. In a year that has been evolving federal vaccine recommendations and historic measles outbreaks, 63% of Americans have high confidence in the effectiveness of childhood vaccines. 63%. But trust dips somewhat when it comes to their safety testing, 53%, and a schedule of 51%. This drop-off is especially pronounced in Republicans. So majority of Americans are confident that childhood vaccines are highly effective against serious illness. Somewhat? That's crazy. That's interesting that it's somewhat amongst all of them. Okay, let's just look at the graphs. So why? So it's the same 20%. Childhood vaccines have been tested enough for safety. The children's vaccine schedule is safe, 23. Look at the small amount of not sure, 5, 6, 7%. Really interesting. So people have an opinion on this, It's wild. Child vaccines have been tested enough. And child vaccine schedule is safe. This is a big one. But it's interesting that, see how the children's vaccine schedule is safe and the children's vaccines have been tested enough is the same, nearly the same. And then there's a 10% increase in the highly effective against serious illness. So people think that it is there is an illness that is worth saving on some of them. But again, that lines up exactly with the 30% that lines up with the amount of people that don't agree with there being a disease. Democrats are far more confident than Republicans that childhood vaccines are effective and safe. Childhood vaccines are highly effective at preventing illness. Somewhat. Look at the somewhat. I don't understand. All U.S. adults, somewhat. How are they somewhat effective? That's crazy. And you look at the undecided, how it jumps up with the Republicans. So there is that group, man. I think that those are, childhood vaccines are highly effective at preventing childhood. So not at all. So there it is. So that is the the not at all. Those are the no germ theory people, right? That 17%, that lean Republican. Childhood vaccines have been tested enough for safety. Not at all. See, this is people that thinking that it hasn't been tested at all. 31%. That's just nonsense. Childhood vaccine schedule is safe. Again, this is why we have to fight on these issues, guys. Childhood vaccine schedule is safe. I think that is why I push back, even on parents that are still vaccinating their kids. The problem is that they're questioning the science and not trusting the scientific method. That is the big problem there. Higher confidence in childhood vaccines among older adults than those with more education. Yeah. I mean, older adults are going to remember. I mean, look at this. Look how it drops off, guys. 65 plus, 59%, 72%, and then all the way down to 60% with 18 to 29s. And you have the same super skeptic 25%, somewhat, but then the hard line. That's interesting. Childhood vaccines are highly effective at preventing serious illness. That same cohort. That's tough, man. That's really tough. That's tough to see. People that are, yes, I know. We can't just like talk about that though. It's all about education. I understand. We can't, it doesn't matter what people are born with. It doesn't matter where they're starting from. It doesn't matter if their amygdala is changed or doesn't matter. We have to fight for them and we have to educate them, and we can't just sit there and talk about that. 84% of Americans say the benefits of the MMR vaccine outweighs the risk. What are the risk of the side effects? Preventative health benefits, 70%, 73%, so low. I mean, at least the risk of side effects is, the benefits outweigh the risks. The risks outweigh the benefits. I can't imagine thinking that and it is the same 30% of Republicans, man. It really is. Since 2019, Republicans and Democrats have diverged in their view on the MMR vaccine. Since 2019, Republicans and Democrats have diverged in their views on the MMR vaccine. Percentage who say that the following about the childhood vaccines for measles, mumps, and rubella. I mean, thank you guys for the gifts. Thank you. Benefits outweigh the risks. How crazy. Look at that. 2016 for Republicans. Benefits outweighed the risks. 2016, 91% of Republicans and 86% of Democrats? What? That is so wild. I can't believe that they would swap like that. Why were so many Democrats thinking about the benefits outweigh? That is so weird. Preventative health benefits are very high. There's no wow, look at the jump between 2019 and 2025. And then the risk of side effects is very high. from like 10, 12% to 20%, doubling the amount, the risk of side effects, because that's what everyone listens to. Everyone hears, so many things about this. Hey, Debate Doc. How's it going?
How you doing?
Good, man. Here's the thing if you want to follow along.
Yeah. I just had a little bit of insight on
Sure.
the, kind of Democrats being at 86%, Republicans being at 91. Because I think that the original anti-vaxxers, for going back to like, Andrew Wakefield in
Yeah.
03, 04, whatever, were like the, super liberal kind of like crunchy mom, believes in crystals and Reiki healing.
Exactly.
And, all organic, all natural kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That was like the OG anti-vaxxer cohort.
Yeah, exactly. It's like an anti-pharmaceutical company, anti-big profits, like that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then like, COVID hits and like Trump starts, engendering kind of distrust in like public health and, spreading like, COVID conspiracy stuff. And then the Republicans just start going down this like, anti-science, anti-health rabbit hole. And I think, we've always known that, they're more prone to like conspiracy and stuff.
Yeah.
And so then all the vaccine conspiracies, cropped up, and then we had the big flip. So
yeah, it's so weird because it's like parents should be able to decide not to vaccinate their children, so they should decide more than medical professionals. And it's like it's so weird to me that it's vaccines. Like of all things, like they're not trying to take over how much, like what is the preservatives and what is in Botox injections. Like I'm actually really interested in that. Botox injections, ingredients. Like what are there?
I think it's just botulinum toxin, right? Is it? I mean, I guess there are preservatives, I'm sure.
Oh my gosh, dude. There's chloride. It's sodium and chloride. Sodium, you know how dangerous sodium is?
Yeah, I mean, elemental sodium, you throw it in water.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen videos of that? Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. And you're injecting that stuff into your body? There's the human albumin. And then they're using human albumin as a stabilizer. But where is that human albumin coming from?
It's a good question.
That is like, well, in science, that means bovine serum albumin. That's a weird one. I'm actually.
I mean, I guess actually, that's so. If it's bovine serum albumin, like, does that just mean that they do blood draws on cows and then
fetal
spin it down and isolate their serum?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, spinal taps basically. It's wild, dude.
Dang.
Yeah, dude. It's really weird. So there's actually a huge point in lab reagent sustainability. Like people are trying to ethically source bovine serum. Where are they getting human albumin? The human albumin. I mean,
I guess it would have to be like when you donate blood. They usually like kind of I mean, like I guess some of it goes to whole blood, but oftentimes they take the blood and they like filter out the serum and make like factor concentrates and cryoprecipitate. And
so it comes from two sources. Google AI is saying human blood plasma and recombinant human serum albumin.
Okay, that makes sense.
They do it. Sense. Oh, they do it in Saccharomyces and Pichia. Okay, nice. It's used and grown in culture. Wow, that's what I do, guys. That's literally what my job was, where I was making recombinant. So basically inserting the pieces of DNA into the yeast, and then having that yeast make that whatever the product of interest, and then we would purify it. So my job would have been to genetically alter the yeast in order to change it, in order to create that. That is.
But didn't say that they made it in like Saccharomyces or something like that?
Yeah, Saccharomyces or Pichia. Pichia pastoris is kind of like a big workhorse. Both of those, Sac and Pichia, are both like pretty much the standard yeast models.
Okay.
And then, yeah, so that's really interesting. I mean, I don't want to sow fake information, but it's curious. It's just interesting to me that like these people think that like vaccines are made from human cells or something. You remember, you know what I mean? They're like, I'm pro-life. I can't be pro-vaccine. You know, that's what they always say. But it's like,
I have not heard that one.
oh yeah. Because it's like, they think it was some of it. It was the live attenuated ones that have to be cell tissue cultured. And then like some type of like ethical production of these things are from cancer cells that are from human cells. And then they think that,
Oh, is this like the HeLa cells or something like that? And
it's not HeLa, but yeah, it is kind of like that, where it's like it's unethical, and they think about that it's coming from. So,
what a crazy hill to die on.
I know, it's so wild, man. That's actually, dude, I'm gonna use that on like for the. Do you know what ingredients? Do you know what ingredients are in Botox? Because it's like, I don't understand, and someone said it in chat, which is the whole reason for it, was like they're not this involved with the ingredients list on anything else they're putting into their body. They're not involved in like, they're not involved in the care, managing their care. You know, they're not like sitting there when they break their leg. They're not sitting there going to, the medical doctor setting their leg, going like, hey, you know, what are you doing over there? That's not straight, or you know what I mean? Like, no, you don't put the pin there. You put it somewhere else, because they are so in a place of vulnerability, you know. But I feel like because of vaccines being unique in that it is a medicine, but it's preventative medicine, right? So I think that allows them to think that they have more of a say in what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very true, and I mean, like there are all of these. I mean, they're sad but very good reads.
Mm-hmm.
All these stories from like nurses and stuff at hospitals, and I think they've been compiled into some like kind of journalistic articles of these like anti-vax individuals who at the height of COVID would get COVID, and they would go to the hospital, which irony abounds, but they go to the hospital when they're actually sick and dying, and they'd be on a ventilator, and like to their dying breath would still be like denying the realities of COVID and the vaccine and all that stuff, like as they were
Dude, the crinkling is really loud. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right. See, there we go. There's one in chat. The vaccines do use fetal cells. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, it can't, it's wild, man. It's wild. And it is so uniquely Republican now. Like, look at the graph. Like, they're Republican for the MMR vaccine requirements, like going from 20%. They basically doubled the amount of Republicans since 2019 to 2023, and then they've increased it another nearly 10% again from 23 to 25. It is crazy.
It actually it is very odd how it's like, like you would have thought like during the pandemic and stuff, like with all of the kind of COVID vax like conspiracy and stuff, and like anti-vax nonsense, like I guess I can kind of understand it picking up at that time, but for it to still be gaining momentum is interesting. Like it's taken on a life of its own above and beyond. Like just being COVID related, which I think is interesting and concerning.
Dude, fibroblast cells are not fetal cells, man. Like, what are you talking? They're not babies. Like, what are you talking about in chat? Like, what in the world?
Some education for
fibroblast cells. It says fibroblast cells are used to produce some vaccines, either by using them to grow viruses for existing vaccines or developing them as a therapeutic target. Historically, the fetal fibroblast cell lines like MRC5 and WI38, which are developed from fetal tissue in the 1960s, are used to make vaccines for diseases like polio, chickenpox, and hepatitis A. That's historically. In a separate, more recent development, researchers are developing therapeutic vaccines that target fibroblast activation proteins, which is overexpressed. So typically, these vaccines are made by growing viruses in cell cultures of human diploid fibroblasts. So the origin of the cells today are established in the 1960s from fetal tissue, but they're not using it today. Like that again, you don't understand what happened. Like that it's a cell tissue line, but it's not like from the extracting from fetal. Yeah, they're not, but it's from the 1960s, dude.
Yeah, this is not, and they're not even necessarily like, aborted fetuses or anything like that either. Like, it's 60-year-old cell lines.
Like, yeah, exactly. That's just wild, man. That's not how it's done. It's not, and that's a great point too. Like, just because it's crazy. I mean, you do need to have some type of host in order to create and replicate viruses. That they need a host. I mean, that is what it is. So, because viruses are real, guys. Like, imagine that viruses are real. All right, so Kool-Aid wants to come up and talk about this fetal cell lines, fibroblasts. Kool-Aid, do you think that viruses are real?
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Do you think that viruses are real?
Oh, hold on. Let me turn up my volume. I can't hear you now.
All good.
Oh, well, you started out, you said that...
Do you think that viruses are real?
You said that
do you think that viruses are real?
Vaccines are real?
Do you think that viruses are real?
There's good vaccines and there's shitty vaccines.
Do you think that viruses are real?
Oh, viruses are real? Oh, yeah. They're definitely real. I've had viruses.
Okay. Do you think that they cause disease?
Yeah, definitely. Okay. That's a good point.
Okay. Do you think...
It's a good point to differentiate vaccines from the disease. That's a good point.
No, viruses. Do you think that viruses cause disease?
They do. That's a good point. Because COVID is a disease, and the virus that causes COVID is a separate disease, which we need to differentiate.
It's a virus. Yeah, SARS-CoV-2 is different than COVID-19. Yes, I understand.
That's a good point. There's no test for COVID, which is interesting, because a lot of people think they could test for COVID, but you can't. You can't do that because that's a disease. It's like a headache. You can't test for a headache. You can test for the virus that causes a headache, but you might have the virus, you might not have a headache. Get what I'm saying?
You can have someone that's SARS-CoV-2 positive, and you can test for the mRNA and the antibodies for that virus.
That's not COVID. That's the disease. The disease is separate from the virus.
If you have the symptomatology, though, so the symptomatology would be COVID, right? That'd be the disease. So if you have all the symptoms, then you could be diagnosed clinically with COVID. And then if you test positive for SARS-CoV-2, then be like, okay, well, now we know it's causing this collection of symptoms that we are calling
but you can't
COVID.
do that in your living room or your kitchen.
So you don't think that SARS-CoV-2 causes COVID?
No, I'm saying you can't diagnose COVID in your kitchen.
Okay.
You're not a scientist.
But you think...
I mean, people that...
But you think that they do cause COVID. Do you think that SARS-CoV-2 does cause COVID-19? You do think that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course it does.
Okay. So then why is there
you can't test for it in your kitchen?
Okay. So that's fine. Okay. So then why is there a huge jump in the weekly number of deaths in the United States? Why is there a huge jump in the expected amount of deaths that just happened to the same period of time that SARS-CoV-2 went through community spread and there was a pandemic? Like, what can you explain any other hypotheses for why this happened? These huge jump in expected deaths?
Nobody was going to hospitals, so I guess nobody was getting health care.
Nobody was going through hospitals in this time? Nobody was dying? Obviously they did.
I can't say...
overloaded. That was the whole issue.
Yeah.
What was the issue? What was the issue?
That hospitals were like overflowing. That there were too many people in hospitals.
No, they weren't. I mean, I can vouch for Ontario, Canada, where I can look at the financial accountability records where it shows that hospitals were completely empty, even though the news was saying they were full, but records show that they were empty.
Dude, I'm a doctor. I was a medical student at the time. I was in those hospitals. They were packed.
No, they weren't. Sorry to tell you that, but they weren't.
Okay, so then how did these people die?
At the accountability records, they were
there's
not.
There's video of it. You know,
there's videos of them doing dancing, but no, I'm going by the Financial Accountability Office of
videos of like COVID wards.
Well,
there's documentation. There's videos of the doctors in their full PPE.
Dancing?
Coming out of COVID wards. No, coming out of COVID wards,
dude.
There's abundant documentation.
Well, I've looked at the financial accountability records, and there's
I don't know why you keep going to these financial accountability records when there's literal video and photographic evidence of hospitals being hacked.
It's a .gov.
And they died.
An independent.
They
audit.
died, dude. We have the death. Why do you still haven't answered my question? Why have they died?
There was less people in hospitals. Sorry about it, but
it doesn't. You're wrong. But they literally were dying.
Financial Accountability Office records in Ontario. Which, we had COVID too, but sorry, the hospitals were empty. Even though the news said it was full, they were empty.
People were obviously dying of something, dude.
Pull up these accountability records and demonstrate. Demonstrate
Financial Accountability Office of Ontario. Look at the records during COVID. It's a public release. It's an independent audit. So it's in its government. And it shows all the records. It shows all their financial.
So you're saying that the pandemic was a fraud, basically. So you're saying that it was a fraud and it didn't happen.
No, I'm just talking about.
I'm just asking questions. Well, I'm just asking your question. Are you saying that people died or not?
Yeah. Oh, they did. They did die.
So then, how did they die?
Well, the only approved medication I'm talking about Ontario was remdesivir. That was the only approved medication for people with COVID was remdesivir and ventilation.
Remdesivir.
Yeah, sorry. You corrected me correctly. Thank you.
I know I did.
So, but you realize that there is a lot more antivirals than just...
That was the only approved in Ontario. Only approved. I'm talking Ontario. Only approved medication for COVID in Ontario.
What are you talking about? In what year? Like, what? Again, this is...
During COVID.
2019, it's a long time.
2022 and 2023. Those were when the hospitals.
Why can you only speak about Ontario?
Because I live in Ontario, and those are the actual records that I have that are legitimate.
How do you know that those are legitimate?
What about records from the rest of the world?
What do you want me to look at the rest of the world right now? No,
look at
it's a
pandemic. It's a pandemic. It's a worldwide thing.
Ontario is huge. Ontario is a huge province. Massive. It's bigger than
the U.S. is much bigger.
I know, and you guys had a huge...
bigger than any state in the U.S.
And you guys had a huge...
Who cares about the land mass? The United States has
more people.
10 times the people of Canada.
No, Ontario is a very prominent, it's a very significant landmass to observe during COVID. So don't.
I'm sure California has more people than Ontario.
You're trying to dismiss Ontario as a
I don't even think that Ontario exists. Prove it.
Wow.
I don't even think that Ontario exists. No.
That's a very Ontario. That's a very Canadian or very American thing I'm going to say. I guess.
Yeah, prove it.
You just said Ontario was bigger than any U.S. state, so
it is.
Dude, the point is that you are denying that there was a pandemic that was going on.
You guys are. You're a doctor, and you're trying to tell me you don't know what Ontario is. You don't know what Ontario. You know.
No,
about
I'm saying that
Toronto?
you're being
You know about
willfully
Toronto
ignorant
Hospital,
of the
Toronto Kids
pandemic,
Hospital?
and you're trying to put your head in the sand. And I'm trying to show you that if you just want to be,
Did you look
like,
at the financial accountability officer's records that I just referenced?
did you look at the
Well, you
death
have-
certificates and the amount of
I'm on the
people that
Financial
actually
Accountability
died?
Office website.
Like, what do you? This is something that you cannot square, dude. That you're questioning and saying that
Hospitals were empty. I don't know what
But
stats
why
you're
are you
showing.
saying
The
that? You're
hospitals were-
saying that because you're questioning that the pandemic was real. That's what I'm saying.
No, I'm offering you proof.
Of what? Of what? What's your point?
The hospitals were empty.
Okay, what point are you trying to say? How did they die if they didn't die of the pandemic?
I told you, remdesivir.
They died of remdesivir.
Remdesivir killed all these people?
A lot of them, yep. Look at the
why did the CDC?
Why are you debating me instead of the information?
Do you think that the CDC? Why then? How did these people die in the United States? Do you think that these people died of?
I don't care about the United States. I'm talking about the information I'm providing you right now, which involves.
Well, I don't care about Canada, and I don't care about Ontario. You don't care about the United States, but I don't care about Ontario. So there you go.
You don't care about the information.
No, I don't care about Ontario. I don't care about you, about what you're saying either.
I think I found what you're talking about.
Oh, here you go. And read very carefully when you read the
This is hilarious. This is hilarious. Dude, this is absolutely hilarious.
He's going to talk about hospital beds that are projected for like 100 years ahead of time.
No. So this is from April of 2020. This is from the very, very, very beginning of the pandemic, right? Very beginning of the pandemic. So in the lead up to the COVID-19 outbreak, the province had 906 acute care beds, 357 critical care beds, and 356 critical care beds with ventilators that were unoccupied, i.e. available. By April 14th, they made available an additional like 9,400 acute care beds, 2,000 critical care beds, and 2,075 critical care beds with ventilators. I'm literally reading this verbatim off the website. So they expanded capacity dramatically.
They did
from
not.
April 17th.
Projected that.
By April 14th, the province and Ontario hospitals had taken measures. That's past tense. From April 17th to April 19th, the total number of hospitalized COVID-19 patients began to decline, only to begin to increase again starting April 20th, likely due to the growing COVID-19 outbreak in long-term care homes. I'm pretty sure this is before remdesivir was even a thing. As of April 23rd, there were 910 hospitalized COVID-19 patients, of which 243 required critical care. Despite the recent growth in hospitalizations, the province has taken a significant amount of remaining available capacity to accommodate COVID-19 hospitalizations. As of April 23rd, there were approximately 9,345 unoccupied acute care and 2,191 unoccupied critical care beds. You realize that they expanded capacity by approximately the number of unoccupied beds, i.e., like the COVID-19 patients had filled all of the pre-existing beds that were there. And so all of this, quote, empty space, unquote, was just the expanded capacity that they had created to accommodate what would eventually be an influx of COVID patients. Like you're looking at something from the very, very beginning of the pandemic and extrapolating it to the entire pandemic and claiming that hospitals were empty the whole time when all of the quote unquote empty beds were just the expanded beds. Oh, he drops. Good stuff. Get wrecked, bro. Get absolutely wrecked.
That's pretty embarrassing for you, man. Oh, he just left.
Yeah. Man. How embarrassing. His own source.
Why is it always that? Why is it always like... That's crazy, dude. I don't understand. They always bring up these little points. I don't get it, man. I don't get the little pedantic like things that they think, or it's the respirator rates, like all the amount of people that were dying on respirators. You're like what? But it's just wild to me, man. Like they have nothing to go on, and it's just they keep going to, yeah. It's so embarrassing.
It is truly embarrassing. Yeah, and all he could talk about was Ontario. That was his only thing, and I'm like, so nothing from the U.S. counts.
Yeah, exactly. It's very odd. I like if it's a pandemic. It's a pandemic. Like that's what I don't understand. Like it's a pandemic, man. These people are they're so tired, and it's the same stuff over and over and over again. I don't get it.
And they never actually read their sources.
I was trying to find out some other or like some other things. Independent financial, OECD. I don't know, and it's always like these weird things. Thank you guys. It's these weird aberrations in the data that they're trying to point to, or it's wild, man. It's so embarrassing. And this is why, dude. I'm telling you. But in his feed, I'm sure he's getting tons of stuff. I mean, this is why Republicans are so uniquely susceptible to this, and so uniquely pushed into these holes, because they have a ecosystem. It's like that. That's the thing, is that their ecosystem only provides more and more support for their nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, it's always kind of a Republican trope. Like every attack is an admission or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because everything's a projection, and so they're constantly complaining about like echo chamber, echo chamber, echo chamber.
Exactly.
And it's like the right wing intentionally created a conservative echo chamber beginning in like the 1980s with Rush Limbaugh on talk radio.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been fostering said echo chamber ever since.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Welcome in, Marnie. How's it going? Welcome in. Hello.
Sorry, that was an accident.
Oh, all good. All right, have a good day. Yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you for the gifts. It's so frustrating to me too, because kind of like repeated so often, and I see a lot of people talking about it, not just like Republicans too. People continually talk about how like science can't be trusted because of the pandemic, or medical science can't be trusted because of the pandemic. And it's like people even in good faith, will I've heard this, that so many Republicans have said this, that they too kind of like adopt this language. And it's like, it's nobody other than Republicans that have any distrust of science, more distrust. It's bad. Like Democrats should have more trust, right? But specifically in the last 4 years, even by these polls, it's obvious that it's just the Republicans that are uniquely in this problem.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think, and something that I point to, which always frustrates me, is they're like, oh, they said one thing and then, they changed their tune and like later said another thing. And like that is proof that, they're wrong and they can't be trusted. And I'm like, no, that you're interpreting that like the opposite way of how it should be interpreted. Like that's evidence of like science doing its job.
Yes.
And like evolving in response to like new data and new information. Like if it said the same thing and then like dogmatically stuck to it and like never wavered, like that would be problematic.
Well, here you go. Here's your
But like
question.
that's what they're used to.
This is exactly what you're talking about. The views of what influences medical science, childhood vaccine research findings. So what are the physicians thinking about when they recommend something? That is what this question's about, right? Are they thinking about the best available scientific evidence? Only 35% of Republicans think that the best scientific evidence is what's guiding physicians. 66% of Democrats. I don't understand why that's so low. That's insane to me. What percentage of what influences a physician's childhood research? Is it the concern for the best interests of the child? Are most physicians thinking about the best interests of the child when they're talking about vaccines? Only 34% of Republicans think that that's true. So a solid 35-40% of them. Is it the interest? This is what we get with all the time, dude. We're pharma shills, right? The interests of pharmaceutical companies, is that what's influencing people's support of vaccines? Support of that 45% of Republicans think that that's true. So that 45% think that pharmaceutical companies are what science is thinking about. 22% of Democrats. I'm pretty
sure a lot of
frustrating.
physicians lose money on vaccines.
Because you'd have less severe patients to look after, and you're not even, physicians aren't even doing the vaccines. They're not administering the vaccines. They're not even doing it most of the time. You can go, your pediatrician appointment can have it, but like most of the time it's like CVS or something like that, Rite Aid, Kool-Aid.
Yeah, like
Kool-Aid's
a lot of
back.
adult ones.
Kool-Aid money back. Yeah, exactly.
But like, I think that like, even just the administration of the vaccine itself, like, I think that vaccine administration is like incredibly poorly compensated.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, it's all funded by like the governments, because the pharmaceutical companies don't make that much money. The profit margin on vaccines is abysmal.
Yeah, it's so low.
Exactly.
I keep on bringing this up, and like, I can't remember the exact numbers anymore, but I did it for Hep B one time.
Mm-hmm.
Like the kind of like the cost benefit analysis of the Hep B vaccine, because somebody was like, oh, why are they giving these kids a vaccine like when they're born? That's crazy. How could a newborn need a vaccine?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, Hep B it's like bloodborne transmission, it's bodily fluids, and so it is not infrequently, if a mom has Hep B, has chronic Hep B, transmitted during birth.
Yeah.
And so, like, administration of the Hep B vaccine at birth can help prevent that, because the mom might not even know that she has chronic Hep B.
Exactly.
And I was like, okay, I looked up a bunch of these numbers. So, the Hep B vaccine series costs like $40 for like all 4 vaccines. So it's like, like I think $40 for all 4 or something like that. But like relatively little money for the full vaccine series. And
Exactly.
I think there were like 3 million kids born in the US per year or something to that effect. Or maybe it was a little bit more. Maybe it was like $25 per Hep B vaccine. So it was like, I don't know, maybe like $100 for the full series. And so 3 million kids born in the US each year. And so, it's about like 300 million per year for the vaccine. Like, that's how much the pharma companies would be getting for all of the Hep B vaccines administered, for like each kid born, each year, like over their lifetime, they get about like, $300 million, for each kind of cohort of kids, born per year. But, rates of like transmission of like neonatal like Hep B are like 10% or something to that effect. And so if we had, let's say, a whole bunch of mothers, and about like, I think 10% of the population has Hep B, and like unvaccinated like Chinese populations where it's endemic. So no. So like, I think it's like 90% neonatal transmission if the mom has Hep B, and there's like 10% in these like, unvaccinated Chinese populations where it's endemic. So let's say we're endemic in the US, 10% of moms have, Hep B, like 90% neonatal transmission. Okay. It costs like, let's say $10,000 per year for chronic Hep B medication, right? So for each kid, there would be something like 2 some odd million kids per year. It would be $10,000 per year for their entire lifetime. So just the per year cost alone would be like $4 billion. And then you'd get that for each kid forever. And it'd be like exponential growth. They would make hundreds of billions of dollars per year giving all of these kids chronic Hep B medication versus giving them vaccine.
Yeah. Exactly. It's preventative medicine, man. It's like an 11-to-1 like economic driver of vaccines. The cost of vaccines, it's incredible. But
Yeah.
Kool-Aid man, are you okay? You licked your wounds, brother. Are you okay?
Oh yeah, hey, my phone died out, so
Yeah.
I just wanted to point out that the other guy was debating. I think it was the debate doc. I had pulled up the PDF file here, and no, he's completely wrong. It says, even if the province achieves its plan to alleviate hospital capacity by 7,000 beds by 2027 to 2028, the FAA project will still be 500 beds short, 7,500 needed just to serve the growth and demand for hospital capacity. So that's projected growth. All is
What
talk
document are
about
you looking
new
at?
beds. That's projected. That's not real. That's a projected estimate in the future that hasn't even. We're not even in that future.
What
That's the PDF file that you were. I don't know what you were reading, but this is
FAO.on.org.
This is the financial accountability, the FAO project that Ontario
Yep.
will still need 500 beds short of the estimated 7,500 beds needed by
Which one are you looking at? There are a bajillion reports on this page. Which one?
This is during COVID. This is the one during COVID.
They have
I don't
different
understand.
names.
What
Give me
is
the name
point?
of it.
What is the point that you're making?
Ontario
What is the
Health
point that you're
Sector
making? I don't
spending
understand what you're
plan.
trying to say.
Ontario Health Sector. What were? No. Hold on. Forget that. What were you reading?
What are you?
Ontario
What are
Health
you
Sector,
trying to?
preliminary
What is the
review of
point that you're
impact
trying
of
to
the COVID-19
say?
outbreak on hospital capacity.
Yeah, they didn't. There's no new beds, so whatever you're reading, those are projected beds.
Okay,
In the
dude.
future of 2027, they didn't approve any beds
How
until
dense are you? Okay, are you giving me the Ministry of Health spending plan review from May 10th, 2021?
Nope. This is the FAO report of the actual.
Like, let's say
results
Kool-Aid.
of the
Let's just say I'm not saying that you're correct. Let's just say that you are. But what's the point? What are you trying to say?
Well, he lied. He acted like they added new beds to account for the lack of people in hospitals, because hospitals were empty during COVID, which this
They're not.
account.
People died in hospitals. You don't think that people died in hospitals?
They were empty. They were at the lowest capacity based on this report.
Okay, so you don't think that
the official
anyone,
report.
you think worldwide that there weren't any full hospitals and people weren't dying in hospitals? That's what you're saying.
They weren't full. People were staying home. People were scared. They were staying home. There was
So they didn't die.
They were killed by remdesivir.
The entire world. So you're saying that 1.2. You're saying that 1.2 million people in the United States were killed by remdesivir.
Well, that's an overestimated estimate.
That's literally what the expected deaths are. So then why did those 1.2 million people in the United States die?
Hospitals were full, though, and they weren't.
They were.
That's your estimates aren't very accurate.
People were.
You're also like obfuscating on this FAO thing. Okay, FAO.on.org/en/topic/healthcare. Right.
It's an independent audit.
This is the Financial Accountability Office of Ontario reports. I'm in the reports section. Right. There are like a couple dozen reports. You're not telling me which one. You're just saying, oh, the FAO. I'm literally on the website. You're not telling me which report. And the report that I was reading from was Ontario Health Sector, a preliminary review of the impact of the COVID-19 outbreak on hospital capacity. Right?
You misrepresented projected.
No, dude. We're looking at different reports because you're not giving me the report that you're actually looking at, and I'm looking at a review of the impact of the COVID-19 outbreak on hospital capacity. They were looking retrospectively. It was a review of the capacity, right? You don't even know what I'm looking at. You're saying I'm misrepresenting stuff. I'm not looking at the same report as you because you're not giving me the name of the freaking report, right? Like, what is wrong with you?
There were no added beds. I'm sorry to tell you that there were no added beds. I don't know what
Dude, I literally read it to you verbatim from a retrospective review.
Okay,
I just
did. Kool-Aid, you're done, dude. You're just boring.
Office.
You're boring, dude. I'm sorry.
You're a liar.
You're just boring. Okay, so DRB at least wants to request that. I don't know what he's so wrapped up on this report, man. It's actually wild, but DRB was actually saying nonsense too. So there you go.